Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name is Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish babes. Today we're going to be doing our November wrap up. And I wanted to just give you guys a forewarning. We're not going to go super into detail on any of these books because we don't want to spoil them if you don't want them to be spoiled. But they're all going to be under our read list on Goodreads. So if you want to read our thoughts and see our rating and read a synopsis, that's the place to go. So let's get started.
All right. So the first one that I read in November was Girl Stop Apologizing by Rachel Hollis. I gave this one a 5-star. I thought it was really fun and upbeat, like a little bit different than what you normally get from like a self-help book. But like,
it's not my thing.
This one I really liked, and I just thought maybe it's because I listened to it. But it was just like,
and you love her.
Yeah, I do. I love her.
Yeah,
and I really like stand behind what. I wish I could think like she does.
Right.
Because I don't.
Yeah.
But
so the first book I read in November was Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, which I really don't think that I need to go into detail. It's obviously the first Twilight book from Edward's point of view. And I love it, and it's not completed, but it's still really good. So
okay, so the next one that I read was a memoir, also slash how-to. It's called On Writing by, you guys may know this author, Stephen King.
I started that.
Did you?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. There's quite a few little tips in there that I was like, good point.
The editor is always right.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I just read.
I was like, good freaking point. So yeah, that one was a quick read for me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
The next books that I read, I'm just going to group them together because it was a duet, was Then There Was You and My Way Back to You, both by Claire Contreras. This was, it's called the Second Chances duet. You guys know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm a sucker for a second chance romance. And this one was really cute. It was about a girl whose name I of course forgot, who moved home temporarily to sell, if I remember it correctly, it was like to sell a family home or something. And she, of course the clock goes off now, and she runs back into her former love. And
Why does this sound so familiar?
Did you read it?
It's Claire Contreras, I very well may have.
But it was good. I think I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, so like I said, I rated both of them 4 stars. And like I said, if you want to know more about the books, I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to spoil them, but you can read the synopsis for yourself.
So the next one that I read was, in true fashion, continuing on my binging, I read Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice. And I am really, really interested in where this story is going. I gotta tell you, some new characters were introduced in this one. And I was really, really amazed with the backstory.
We love a good backstory.
I really love, and I can see through this one, I can see like the connection between the Mayfair witches story and the vampires. Like she did a kind of cool little connection. So definitely a 5 out of 5.
Yay. So the next two books, once again, another, well, I think this was a trilogy, but I haven't read the third one. I don't know that I will because it doesn't really seem like a continuation of the story that I'll be interested in. But it was What He Doesn't Know and What He Always Knew, both by Candy Steiner. Now, these were the first 2 Candy Steiner books that I had ever read, and I think I've read like 3 more since. 2 more are going to be in this month, or maybe just 1 more is going to be in this month. Another one's going to be in the one that I read in December. Like, it's crazy. I'm obsessed with her. I have yet to read a book by her that I haven't liked, and I've read like 5. So these 2, this was sort of a second chance romance slash like a love triangle sort of situation. It's about a woman who's in a marriage that's not really going well, and a guy that she used to have a connection with comes back to town, and they start working together, and yada yada. Once again, don't want to ruin anything, but I really liked this. I think I gave these both a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and it's a love triangle done really well, where there are points where you definitely root for both of them, and it was really, at the end of the day, you're just rooting for the heroine. Like, you want her to be happy. You care less about the men and more about her. So they were really, really good books.
That's how I feel
Pretty
a lot
usual.
of the time.
Yeah.
So the next one I read was Half Truths by Claire Contreras. I really, really loved this one. This one was a little bit different. It was a little bit more of a mystery angsty, suspenseful kind of read.
But of course, there has to be romance in it.
But of course, yeah, of course, there's romance in it. But it was so good, so good. I couldn't put it down. I loved it. 5 out of 5 for sure on this one.
The next one that I'm going to talk about, also by Candy Steiner, one of my favorites of this year. Freaking spectacular. If you're going to read one Candy Steiner book, it needs to be this one, and it's called A Love Letter to Whiskey. It's one of those stories that follows them. You know, it starts when they're children, and it follows them well into their adulthood, and how they can like never get the timing right in their relationship. There's always something standing in the way. It's very angsty, very painful. I think I wrote that this book is proof that I have a heart, because it was like I was crushed so many times while reading this book. 5 out of 5, like I said, one of my favorites of the year. You've got to check it out. And the heroine is a person of color. I think I told you that.
Oh, we
love to support books like that. So
absolutely. Actually, the same goes for the next book that I read, The Idea of You by Robin Lee. I gave it 3 stars. Now, this was kind of tough for me because it came highly recommended from a lot of people. I had seen a lot of people talk about this book, and I really did enjoy the concept because it was an older woman, younger man, and I really just wanted to know kind of what that was about and where it was going to go. I really have to say that probably the 3 stars really goes for the ending.
Oh, I hate that one. It's a good book, but it has a bad ending.
Like, I was really into it. I was. And it was the most, like, tragic, heartbreaking ending. And not, like, in a good way. Like, it crushed me that the book ended like that. That the story ended like that.
You got invested in these characters, and then you feel like they didn't get the ending they deserved.
No.
Because it's different. Not every book needs a happy ending, but they all need to get the ending that they deserve. I feel like with The Opportunist, it wasn't a happy ending, but they didn't deserve a happy ending.
I like a lot you books that don't have happy endings.
Because you feel like the characters don't deserve it. You felt like these characters deserved it.
I just felt it was, I felt it was more unfair to him than to her. Okay. I thought in the end she was just being really selfish about it.
Oh, but I do love a selfish woman. I think it's a trope that we don't see all that much.
I think it was more, not even like selfish in like regards to her, because obviously she knew what her heart wanted, but like her image and her family.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And like I was just like.
So the last book I'm going to talk about, because I only read 6 this month, and I grouped 4 of them together because they were like, you know, together, whatever. So the last book I'm going to talk about was Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. Now, this is one that I've had on my list for months, and I just remembered that I had it on my list, and I got super excited to read it. I literally downloaded it on my Kindle app and started it right then and there. I thought I was going to love it. The first half was so stinking slow. So slow. But then the second half was like an incredible book. It was so good. So it's like, it was hard to give it a rating. I think I ultimately ended up with like 3.5 stars. The last half of the book was a 5-star. The first half was honestly like a 2. I was super close to DNFing it. It was so super slow to me. Just like unnecessary detail. I'm okay with a slow burn romance, but when you're going to throw in unnecessary details to make it last a little bit longer, it's kind of, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, that's kind of pointless.
But it sucks, because then, like I said, like I ended up really, really liking it. So it's like I don't want to talk shit on it, and I want people to read it. But I want you, if you're going to read it, please know that like it does start out slow. To make a long story short and to sum it up super quickly, it's about a girl who's dating a guy, and then they come on some hard times and they move in with the guy's father, and there ends up being a little bit of a spark between the girl and her boyfriend's father. I'm gonna leave it there. I love a good older man, so.
She really does.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie about that. The next one that I read last month, was Fuck Marriage by Taryn Fisher. I really liked this one. Big surprise, right?
Satcher, right?
Satcher maybe one of my favorite characters that Taryn has ever written.
Yeah.
Satcher was just, he made the book for me.
Yeah.
Honestly, but Billy was very relatable, and I really
adored
did
her.
love her.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, Satcher, just all of the Satcher. Just
Just
all
Satcher
of it.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one that I read was The Shining by Stephen King. Now this one took me a while to get through. And that's because
Didn't you
I
start
could
that a
not,
couple months ago?
yes, I
Yeah.
could not just like sit down and read it. I had to like take breaks because it's such a psychological book.
It's very heavy. Yeah.
It's very heavy, lots of details, and I didn't really want to miss anything because I was really into the story.
When you read Stephen King, you have to be in the mood to read, like to sit there and to pay attention. That's why I like romance, because I can kind of it's just fun.
Yeah, well, that's how I ended up with so many romances in between there.
Yeah.
But you know, The Shining definitely was like a piece of art. I really loved the fact that he could just get in your head and like
he has a way of doing that.
it just totally like it. The only other book I've read by Stephen King besides his memoir was 11/22/63, and that's not like horror, not thriller, or anything like that. So it's totally different. So this was just like, wow, okay. Then I read on the total opposite spectrum, Maybe Now by Colleen Hoover.
Oh, yay!
This
is another one of my favorites that you read.
Let me tell you. Maggie's story. I can't believe it.
I know.
I was honestly like, and this is gonna sound bad, but like as much as I enjoy Sydney and Ridget, like parts, I was like, I want more of Maggie's story. Like, okay, let's skip back to that. Like, I wanted to know what was going on with her. So I didn't see that like going in. I never thought I would be like, let's find out what happens with Maggie. But I really wanted to find out. I really thought that it was different.
It was
very different. So the very last book I read this month was Empty Hotel Rooms Meant for Us by Christina Hart. That is a poetry collection. This one really like got me like right in the feels because I could totally relate to it and see where a lot of the imagery was coming from, and I just really loved it. So I give that a 5 stars. And I think that's it for me.
Yeah. I know. I feel like it's funny. I keep saying I had a slow reading month, but I read 6 books.
You did. Like, I also, side note, had surgery this month. So was bedbound for like 2 weeks.
Less importantly, I met my reading goal this month.
You did?
Yes.
Yay!
So I was my goal to read 70 books, and I met that in November. So I kind of felt like I could, not that I was like rushing through books or anything, but I did kind of feel like, okay, maybe I should take a little bit, like I took like a week-long break from reading, which is a long time for me.
That is a long time for you.
A really long time. I caught up on some TV shows that I haven't watched TV in like months pretty much. So I caught up on the one or two TV shows that I've been watching.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's nice sometimes. It makes you appreciate it more if you take a little bit of a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I met my reading goal last month. And
your goal was 50,
mine was 50.
Right? Yeah.
So I'm at like 63 books right now.
I think I'm at like 74 as of like today. So yeah, that's it.
That's it.
If you want to know more about what we read this year, that's all going to be on our Goodreads, which once again will be put down below. That's really the place to go if you want to hear our full review.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of books to talk about in a short amount of time, so we don't want to go too much into detail. We want to cover as many bases. And like I said, we're both people who like to go into books knowing as little as possible, so we've kind of over time stopped talking a lot about the books because
I go in blind
we don't want to ruin it for people who don't want to know a lot, but for people who do want to know more, they can just check out the synopsises.
Yep.
So synopsises, synopsi,
whatever, it works.
Anywho,
also if you want to buy any of these books, they will be linked down below to the Amazon page.
Yeah. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Let us know down below what you read in November and if you've read any of these books that we've read.
And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.